ॐ गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पतान् शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनं श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। Om. Dear friends, in the last class we have completed the 6th shloka and we have seen what is the nature of an avatara, the avatara tattvam, what exactly it is. We have seen that whenever and we have not seen so far as to when and what circumstances Lord is going to come. We have also read that shloka, yada yada hi dharmasya glanirbhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tada atmanam srujamyaham. I just read and I think I explained that shloka also. Did I explain that shloka?
Briefly.
Okay. So this is the shloka which says as to when, under what circumstances there is what is called incarnation of God. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirbhavati. As and when or whenever there is a glani, there is a great threat to the dharma, there is a great crisis to dharma. And then adharmasya abhyutthanam. Whenever there is a great upsurge of this adharma is in ascendancy and then dharma is in descendancy. So that is the state, that is a sort of critical period when abhyutthanam adharmasya tada atmanam srujami aham atmanam srujami. I create myself. How he creates himself we have seen in the earlier shloka. Ajopi san avyayatma bhutanam ishwaropi san. By having maya as my own maya as my base, I am appearing in this world. That is what we have seen. Maya is the trigunatmika mayam. That also he explained, that trigunatmika, all these three gunas which are there in the society, nothing should go beyond a limit. Nothing should go beyond the limit, and then if something goes beyond the limit, naturally something else is going to suppress it. If sattva also, if there is a total predominance of sattva, then rajoguna is likely to take over or tamoguna is likely to take over, and we can see some examples in history also. There cannot be excess of tamoguna. If there is excess of tamoguna, there will be only violence, disorder, and then all arson, looting, etc. in the society or in the world. So these are circumstances where there is a sort of restoration of order according to a cosmic principle. Yada yada hi dharmasya is actually a sort of eternal principle which the Lord is saying. It is a sort of, it is a cosmic principle about restoring the balance in this Prakriti which is having this sattva guna, rajoguna and tamoguna. So there is a restoration of balance. In fact, in Mahabhagavatam there is a shloka which says that Lord, that is Krishna, whether it is we refer to the creator, Brahman, whatever it is, he suppresses this tamoguna, he controls this tamoguna. Tamoguna means that ignorance, violence, all this, that tendencies, violent tendencies, he suppresses this tamoguna by using his rajoguna. Rajoguna we know, rajoguna is that energy. Rajoguna symbolizes energy, that all positive energy. Tamoguna is negative energy. So this negative energy is controlled by this rajoguna, which is the positive energy. And then again, this also should not be too high. Then again, sattva has to dominate it. Sattva has to come, and then sattva has to counsel this rajoguna. So that is what we saw in that line, Brahma Kshatriya Parirachite Jagat Paripalayitu Malam. That is, both this Brahma and Kshatriya, these two also should go in a balance. This Brahma means this Dharma, Vaidika Dharma, and then Kshatriya. This ability to control should also be regulated by this, say, an awareness of dharma. So this Brahma Kshatriya Paripalite, that line we saw in Shankaracharya's Bhashyam. So like that, this is a sort of eternal principle which is told about, which rather assures that there is a, say, whenever there is a crisis in dharma, then the Lord or the universal, the cosmic being has got a mechanism to appear and restore order in the society. So that is it. Let us see this Bhashyam. Yada yada hi धर्मस्य ग्लानिः हानिः वर्णाश्रमादिलक्षणस्य प्राणिनाम् अभ्युदय निःश्रेयस साधनस्य भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानम् उद्भवः अधर्मस्य तदा आत्मानं सृजाम्यहं मायया. So he says, yada yada hi, that is whenever or as and when, dharmasya glanihi hanihi. Hani is, that is total crisis in dharma. Dharma is in descendancy. There is a great danger to the very existence of dharma. Dharma, what is the meaning of dharma? What Shankaracharya says is, Praninam abhyudaya nishreyasa sadhanasya varnashramadi lakshanasya. This Praninam abhyudaya nishreyasa, we have heard two words called abhyudaya and nishreyasa. Abhyudaya is prosperity in this world. Nishreyasa is knowing about one's own self and getting freed from all these bondages. Abhyudaya, of course, you are full of bondages. Abhyudaya, you are so and so, you are Mr. so and so, and then you have an office, you have got an establishment, you have got an achievement, you have got some performance indicators and whatnot, and all this material wealth, you need this, that. So all this Abhyudaya is there. And in the case of a ritualist, if you talk about Abhyudaya, he performs this yajna or that yajna, then some other ritual, he attains a lot of punya and he attains some lokas. So this is at the level of a ritualist. Nishreyasa means that is the ultimate happiness. When is that ultimate happiness? Only by knowing your own self, only by rejecting certain negative things which are there in the mind, and then freeing the mind from various negative things, and then staying happily. So, but then he will be still doing. If he is if he is say in the path of duty, like a King Janaka or something like that, he may be doing something. He may be discharging his duty, but he will be discharging it in a totally dispassionate manner, in a totally asangaha, unattached manner. He will be doing. That is nishreyasa. Nishreyasa is moksha. At the end of it, after all, you have to attain moksha only. You have to attain liberation. Nishreyasa is moksham. Abhyudaya is prosperity, material prosperity, or some other prosperity in the shape of punyam, and attaining some lokas, punya lokas. So, and these things are there which are prescribed for various varnas and ashramas. This varna and ashrama we are also going to see in the next, say after 2-3 shlokas, we are going to see Chaturvarnyam Maya Srishtam. I will explain in a more, in a greater detail at that time. Varna Ashramadi Lakshanasya. We know that there are 4 varnas and also 4 ashramas. 4 varnas are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaisya, Shudra. These 4 varnas depending on the guna karma vibhagashaha. Then again, ashrama. Ashrama also we know that there are 4 stages in a man's life. That is Brahmachari, where he studies Veda. Brahmachari means he studies Veda, and he right from that time he is engaged in the knowledge of the self. Brahmachari, not only recitation, pure recitation of this Veda in a blind manner, not recitation of Veda, understanding the Veda. Then from that level, he learns about dharma, loka dharma. What is the, social, what are the social norms? What is the, say all this, the thing is, it comes under the purview of dharma. Social norms, all social norms, they come under the purview of dharma. Then, after that, grihasthashrama, when he marries, then again, vanaprastha, after married life and say maybe at the age of 50 or 60, when he has to transfer his what all assets he has to his children, that is the stage of vanaprastha. The kings usually go to vanaprastha. That tradition was there in India. It's not like somebody waiting till his son overthrows him like Aurangzeb did in the case of Shah Jahan. Our people were not waiting like that. So our kings, the tradition was that after some time, he has to honorably hand over Yavarajyana Sanyoktam Aichat. So Dasharatha, if you read Ramayana, when he saw that Rama grew up, and then Rama grew up as a wise man, then he immediately wanted to entrust kingdom to Rama. So that is what you see right down from all kings. We have never seen in Indian history a son killing his father for the sake of killing or imprisoning his father for the sake of kingdom. So anyway, that Vanaprastha is something which is there. Vanaprastha, where you have to again lead a very secluded life, and then you have to do this Brahma Chintana only. And then at a later stage, the final stage is sannyasa. So that was the stage prescribed for a person who is in this world, who is having all these worldly, connections. But somebody who wants to totally disconnect right from brahmacharya, he can jump to sannyasa. One who wants to skip these two intermediate things, he can jump to sannyasa. So this is the varna and ashrama dharma. And then these are there in order to facilitate this abhyudaya and nishreyasa. Abhyudaya and nishreyasa of the people, seekers, let us say, they are attained by following this dharma. And for such a dharma, there is a glani, there is a crisis. So there is a crisis to that thing. Hey Bharata, Bharata, we know the meaning of Bharata. Bha means jnanam, Bha means this light, illumination, and also metaphorically jnanam. Bhaskaraha. Bhaskara means one who gives light. One who gives light, that is Surya, that is the sun god. So Bha means shining, light, which metaphorically means jnanam, knowledge. So Bharata means Bhayam Rataha. One who is committed to knowledge, one who is in this, one who is a seeker. So in a way, he is addressing, you belong to this Bharata Vamsha, which is a very great Vamsha, and then you are also somebody who is interested in this jnana. So Bharata, then Abhyutthanam Udbhavaha. Abhyutthanam means Abhi plus Utthanam. Utthanam means rising. Abhi means all around. There is an all around upsurge. There is an all around upsurge of what? Adharma. Adharmasya Abhyutthanam. Then Tada, at that time, Atmanam Srujami Aham Mayaya. I create myself by my own Maya. So this is what it is a sort of, let us say, it is a sort of hope, it is a sort of assurance given to mankind, and that is why we also see in history, we also see that whenever there is a crisis, people will be actually praying to God, oh God, come, you deliver us from our miseries. You have heard that Purandara Dasa Kirtana, Krishnani Begane Baro. Krishnani Begane Baro is, you come and deliver us from these miseries. So this is a sort of, a collective hope for mankind, because we see in human history that the mankind has seen so many miseries. Mankind has seen so many assaults on civilization, so many assaults on certain cultures. In fact, in India, of course, we also suffered a lot. We are one of the countries which suffered a lot. For about 10 centuries, there was a total domination, and then there was total pell-mell. There was a total pell-mell in the initial days of these assaults, because the kings were massacred, the whole society, all these, the women, property, etc., there was absolutely no such thing as one's own at that particular time. So we went through a very miserable period. But there are certain civilizations which have gone through much more miserable days. For example, if you see world history, there are certain civilizations in South America, for instance. There is what is called an Inca civilization. The people, if we want to describe them in the parameters of Sattva, Rajas and Tama, that was a society which was full of Sattva Guna. Full of Sattva Guna. Very orderly, quiet, peaceful, God-fearing people. And if we read that in that world history, if you see, in fact, these people were so contented, though it was a very rich society. It was a very rich society. They were having all gold and all those things. They were using a lot of gold also. And when they went out also, they did not close their doors. When they went out, they used to keep some broomstick at the door, just to indicate that there is nobody in the house. So nobody entered that house. But then, when these people, the invading armies, I think the Spaniard army, when the Spanish soldiers, they went and actually looted their houses and raped their women. Then these people, the Inca civilization, the Inca people, they were so aghast that God was allowing all such ghastly things. So many of them, it seems, they committed suicide. So that is what we read. There are several civilizations there are some civilizations like that, which were totally wiped out by invading armies. But luckily it has not happened in India. We are still reading Gita, we are still reading about say Upanishads and other scriptures. But anyway, we have gone through all these miserable periods, and in all these miserable periods, our Indian society must have taken solace with this shloka, yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati. All these people like this bhakti movement, if we see this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then Mirabai herself, all this bhakti movement, particularly in Rajasthan and West Bengal and all these places, which were subject to great attack from outside. These are the places which were subjected to attack. Rajasthan is the place where the first brunt of attack was taken by the people in Rajasthan, all these Rajputs in Rajasthan. They were the people who faced the whole situation. So it is at that time that this bhakti movement has come, because when there is no help from anywhere, you turn to God. So that is why all these Kabir Das and all these people, and then Tulasi Das, Surdas and all these people, that and the big bhakti movement, it originated in India only after that time. So that is what we see in the history. So let us see next shloka, Kimartham. Now in the earlier shloka, Tacha Kada Kimartham, when and what for. When has been explained here, what for is going to be explained in the next shloka. Kimartham paritranaya iti. Let us read this shloka. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkrutam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So this again is the same continuation of that assurance by the Lord, that paritranaya sadhunam paritranaya. So dharma, the crisis to dharma, what is that crisis actually? Crisis to dharma is that all these sadhu people, the people who are following in that sattva path, people who are in that sattva guna, people who are actually dutiful, who are really pious, righteous, simple, contented people. So all such people, they are being harassed. So that is what is happening to them. When we say dharma glani, what is that dharma glani? Dharma glani is that all the bad people are in the ascendancy. These sadhus who follow this sattva path, they are the people who are suppressed, and the people who are in this tamoguna, they have become dominant. This tamoguna becomes dominant, and then this is suppressed. The sattva guna is suppressed. At that time, the Lord has to use his rajoguna in order to suppress that tamoguna. He has to suppress that tamoguna. So that is what he says. Paritranaya sadhunam. Sadhuhu is the word. Sadhunam is Shashti Bahuvachanam. Sadhunam means of the people who are, say, in the path of sattva. Then paritranaya. Pari plus trana. Tra, we know this root tra means to protect. Kshatriya. Kshatriya, what is Kshatriya? Kshatan trati iti Kshatriya. One who protects those who are in danger. Kshata, one who is in danger, is protected by the Kshatriya. So Kshatan trati, one who protects people who are in danger, he is called a Kshatriya. So likewise mantram, what is mantra? Mananat trayate iti mantraha. We recite one mantra. By mananat. Manana means by contemplating on that manana, by contemplating on that mantra, not by mere repetition. Not simply repetition, not repetition mechanically. Mechanical repetition does not result in anything apart from some sort of contentment, some sort of satisfaction. But you have to know the meaning of the mantra, you have to understand and then contemplate on the meaning of the mantra. That is called mananam. Mananam means, even in Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, what is Mananam? Mananam is Yuktibhihi Anuchintanam Mananam. So Yukti means logic. Anuchintanam, whatever has been said, you apply logic. You apply logic and then think on that. What he says, is it correct or how? How is it justified? Every statement of that mantra has to be, every word of that mantra has to be, this logic has to be applied, and then you have to logically understand and then appreciate. So that gives you an inner strength. So that strength protects you. So that is the meaning of mantra. Mananat trayate. Tra means to protect. Mananat trayate. By doing this contemplation, by doing a sort of a rational understanding of a Vedic utterance. So that is what is mananam. So that rational understanding gives you protection. That is why it is called mantra. So this is here paritranaya. Tranam means protection. Tra is a dhatu to protect. Trana is protection. Paritranaya. Paritaha tranaya. Paritaha means all round. He said abhyuttanam adharmasya. There is an all round say upsurge of adharma. So here it is paritranaya. There is an all round protection for this dharma. The paritranaya sadhunam. Dushkrutam cha vinashaya. Vinashaya cha dushkrutam. That is dushkrutam vinashaya. Dushkrutaha. Who is this dushkruta? Dushkruta is somebody who is indulging in bad deeds. Somebody who is totally indulging in bad deeds. He is a fellow, he is called a dushkruta. Dushkrutam. So for of those say people, evil people, vicious people, villainous people, of those vicious people, vinashaya, for the destruction, for the elimination of, for the suppression of those bad people, then dharma samsthapanarthaya. Samsthapanam means establishment, properly established. Sam plus sthapanam, samyak sthapanam. That is very well established. Dharma has to be very well established. For that purpose, sambhavami yuge yuge. Again and again I appear. It is not as though Lord appears only once or twice or thrice or something like that. As and when there is a disturbance to this dharma, as and when there is a great crisis to this dharma, the Lord appears. So that is the universal principle. Not as though this is something only this many times or something like that. It's not like that. In Puranas, we see so many examples like in mythology. If you see Bhagavatam, the whole of Bhagavatam is a description of various avatars in different situations. For example, Prahlada is a person who is suffering. At that time, there is an avatara. There is an avatar of Narsimha. And then that Hiranyakashipu is removed. So like that, there were some other periods of crisis. In all those periods of crisis, Bali Vamana is another period of crisis. Bali means arrogance. It is nothing but it symbolizes arrogance. So the unfortunate, I was telling about the racist interpretation of Puranas. It is very, very unfortunate that our people do not read Puranas and then somebody else reads, either a communist reads or some other person reads, and then they give some sort of racist interpretation to Puranas, saying that Bali is belonging to some sort of Dalit class, and then this Vamana belongs to a forward caste. So the forward class people oppressing these Dalits and things like that. So this sort of very mischievous and wrong interpretations are given only because we do not go through the original text. So there is a great need to go through these Puranas also, because they are subject to misinterpretation by various mischievous elements who have their own agenda. So that is the issue. So we come across in Bhagavatam several examples of these avatars, several examples where this Lord takes a human form or some form. It may be an animal form, semi-human, semi-animal. For example, this Narasimha Avatara, it is semi-human, semi-animal. That is Narasimha, the body is, the human, the head of a lion. So that is it. Then there is, for example, in Wiki, if you know, an English poet called Yeats, he wrote one poem called The Second Coming. Even the Christians, they have a belief that the second Christ is going to come again. This belief in second coming. Second coming is, he will again come back to the earth in order to establish dharma in their own way. So there again, the head of a lion, the head of a man, and the body of a lion. The body of a lion and head of a man is something opposite of Narasimha. That is what they visualize. Turning in the widening gyre. The poem starts like this: turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. That is, there is a person, if you know of hunting, something of hunting, the hunters, they use a falcon. The falcon sits on the arm of this hunter, and then they release that falcon. And then once they release that falcon moves around and round and round, and then again comes back, and then again sits on the arm of this person. So that is how it is trained. But then this turning and turning, this falcon cannot hear the falconer. That is, there is absolute loss of control. So in a society, it is basically to symbolize that the society has reached a stage where there is no control. It has lost control. So and then the ceremony of innocence is drowned. That is what he says. There is a poet called W.B. Yeats. the ceremony of innocence is drowned. That is paritranaya sadhunam. The sadhus are all under suppression. So that is what is that. So like that, whenever there is that sort of crisis, the Lord has to appear. The Lord will appear in some form. It may be it may be a human form, it may be some other form, it may be in the form of maybe in some other natural calamity, we do not know. So like that. Dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Let us read this bhashyam. Paritranaya Parirakshanaaya Sadhunam Sanmargasthanam Vinashaya cha Dushkrutam Papakarinam Kincha Dharma Samsthapanarthaya Dharmasya Samyak Sthapanam Tadartham Sambhavami Yuge Yuge Prati Yugam. Okay, he says Paritranaya Parirakshanaaya. Pari is an upasarga. Pari plus Trana. Pari means Paritaha, all around. Paritranaya Parirakshanaaya. Rakshana also is the same, protection. Of whom? Sadhunam Sanmargasthanam. Sanmargasthanam, those who are in the right path, those who are in the path of righteousness. Vinashaya cha dushkrutam. Dushkrutam is papakarinam. Papakarinam is one who is indulging in all types of sinful activities. Papakarinam. So then, kincha, moreover, dharma samsthapanarthaya. Dharmasya samsthapanam. He says, dharmasya samyak sthapanam. Sam plus sthapanam. Sam means very well, very effectively, very efficiently established. Some very efficiently re-established dharma. Then tadartham, for that thing. Tadartham means for that. Sambhavami, I will be born. Yuge yuge prati yugam. In every age. Yuga means not necessarily Kruta Yuga, Treta Yuga, etc. In every age means whenever there is such a crisis. Then tat janma iti. Let us read this next shloka. Janma karma cha me divyam. Evam yo vetti tatvatah. Tyaktva deham punarjanma. Naiti mameti sorjuna. Okay, Janma Karma cha me divyam. So he has explained under what circumstances he is going to come and what will be his duty once he comes. Kada and Kimartham, when he is going to come and what for. He has explained in the above two slokas. Now he says, one who understands my Janma and Karma. This Divyam Janma Karma. This Divyam means divine. Divya is same as divine. That is something which is the body of say Krishna as an avatar is not the same as a human body. Human body is a karma phala. We discussed in the last class the difference between an avatara body and a normal body. A normal person is born because of this karma phala, whatever previous karma is there. Avatara is not because of that. Avatara is not, the body is not made of these 5 elements. The body is simply, it is just an appearance. It is just an appearance, say based on that Maya only, on the Trigunatmika Shakti only. It is just an appearance which the Lord takes as he likes. So that is the meaning there. So the divine Janma and Karma, yo vetti tattvataha, one who knows, one who properly understands. Because this Lord, if you see in the earlier shlokas, if we have seen, he has told in the 3rd adhyaya, Name parthasti kartavyam, Name parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana. In all the 3 worlds, I don't have any personal work, kartavyam, something which is an obligatory duty. There is no obligatory duty on my part in all the 3 worlds. So that is what he said in that 22nd shloka. Then again in another shloka he says, Yadi hyaham navarteya jatu karmanya tandritaha, mama vartmanu vartante, that is the 24th shloka of 3rd chapter. Yadi hyaham navarteya, if I don't engage myself in action, then all other people will be just following me. Because yad acharati shrestha tattade vetarojanaha, whatever a great man does, the entire society follows him. The entire society, I become the role model. So for that reason, I have to be engaged in action, though there is no obligatory duty on my part as an avatar. Then again he is going to say, Namam karmani limpanti. In the case of an ordinary man, this karma phala accrues to him. In the case of an ordinary man, whatever karma phala is there, karma phala accrues to him. Unless he is doing a nishkama karma. But in the case of Leela Vigraha, in the case of that body which is just taken by him as per his Leela, there is no question of karma phala. There is no question of karma phala, there is no question of any attachment or anything. Then he also is going to say in subsequent shlokas, in subsequent adhyayas, Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham, I take care of the yoga and the kshema of all the people. So like that, he is going to say about his karma. His janma is something which is divine. His karma again is for loka sangraha. His janma is something which is of special nature. Then his karma again, he is doing his karma like anybody else. He is doing his karma. He is going through all these rituals, all these drill, all the normal drills. That is for loka sangraha. That is to be a role model for others and for the welfare of the society, for the collective good. Loka sangraha, we know. Sangraha means to keeping the society intact. Any activity which is intended to keep the society intact. So that is what is loka sangraha. Lokasya unmarga pravrutti nivaranam loka sangraha. That is what Shankaracharya was explaining. That is how he was explaining it. So whatever activity is designed to keep the society together. So that is what is loka sangraha. So this is the karma. Janma and karma. Me means of me. Janma karma cha me divyam. Evam means in this manner. Yaha vetti means janati. Tattvataha means in its essence. Tattva is the essence of it. So tattvataha, in reality, totally, fully. Then tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sorjuna. So that person, deham tyaktva, having left this body, punaha janma naiti means na plus eti becomes naiti. Eti means gachati means he goes. The naiti means he does not attain. Punarjanma naiti, he does not attain a rebirth. Punaha janma na eti, that is how it has to be split. Punaha janma na plus eti, naiti. He will not attain another janma. Punarjanma naiti. Mam eti has to be split as mam plus eti. Mam means me, eti means attains. He attains or reaches. Let us say reaches. Saha Arjuna, hey Arjuna, oh Arjuna. That particular person, Saha, that gentleman, having left the body, he will not attain another deha, but he will attain me only. So that is what he is saying. Let us see this bhashyam. Janma maya rupam karmacha sadhu paritranadi me mama divyam aprakrutam aishwaram evam yathoktam yaha vetti tatvatah tatvena yathavat tyaktva deham imam punarjanma punarutpattim naiti na prapnoti mam yeti agacchati samuchyate hey Arjuna. So it's again in one line he has completed because the words are very simple. Janma maya rupam. So one has to understand that the Lord's janma is of maya rupam. It is not a real janma, but it is something, an appearance only in that maya. It is something divine. Karmacha sadhu paritranadi. Sadhu paritranadi means that is protection of the sadhus, etc. Etc. We have seen, I quoted some shlokas in the previous portion and also some shlokas which are going to come. Sadhu paritranadi. Then me mama, of mine, divyam aprakrutam aishwaram. Divyam means something which is divine. Aprakrutam, that is they do not belong to this prakriti. Prakriti is this thing which is responsible for this universal law. But the God, this Brahma, this Lord is something who is beyond this prakriti. Prakriti is under his control. He is not under the control of the prakriti. All other people are under the control of this Maya or Prakriti. Maya is the same as Prakriti. Maya is equal to Prakriti. We have to first note it. Then aprakrutam means something which is beyond Maya. It is not under the influence of Maya. It is not something under the control of Maya. So Vashikruta Maya, Ishvaraha Vashikruta Maya, that is what we say. That means Ishvara is somebody under whose control Maya is there. Maya, he is not under the control of Maya. So Aprakrutam Aishwaram. Aishwaram is something to do with leadership, something to do with authority. Ishvaraha, Ishvarasya Bhavam. He is the ruler. He rules over Maya. He controls Maya. He is the controller. Ishvaratva means controlling. So he is the controller of Maya. That has to be understood. Yathoktam yaha vetti. One who knows that this is something which is not under the control of Prakriti, which is beyond this Prakriti. Yo vetti tattvataha tattvena yathavat. Tattvena means yathavat, as it is. One who knows my real nature. Tyaktva deham imam. Imam deham tyaktva means having left this body, then punarjanma punaha utpattim na eti na prapnoti. He will not attain this rebirth. Then mam yeti mam agacchati sa muchyate he Arjuna. Such a man gets liberated. Sa muchyate. Muchyate means he gets liberated. Such a man gets freed because he becomes a jnani. One who understands this, he is a jnani. So that is what is actually said in the next line also. Next month, in the next shloka also. So here, any other... Okay, there is no other point here. Paritranaya sadhunam. There is no point here. Any other point here. So let us read this next shloka. Naisha mokshamargaha Idanim pravruttaha Kim tarhi Purvamapi. So that is what the avatarika. This mokshamarga, it is not only being told now, it was there right from the beginning. This mokshamarga, this knowing the reality of my avatara, it is something which is not now, it is not something which is established now, it has been there right from the beginning. So that is what he says, the next shloka, Vitaraga iti. Let us read this shloka. Vitaraga bhayakrodhaha manmaya mamupashritaha bahavo jnanatapasa bhuta madbhavamagataha. So here he says, this shloka is about somebody who is a jnani. This particular shloka is about somebody who is a realized person. In the earlier shloka we have seen Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam Yo Vetti. He will not get Punarjanma, which means this particular shloka is referring to a jnani. That is what is being told here. Vita Raga Bhaya Krodhaha. This is somebody who has totally purified his mind. His mind, say it is compared to a can of worms, a cup. If you want to, suppose you take a cup and then you want to fill some clean milk into that cup. Okay, if the cup is very clean, it is okay. But if the cup is already having some worms, then if you put some milk also, that milk also gets rotten. That milk will not be proper. So that is how one Swamiji, he compared this mind with a can of worms. And each worm, suppose one worm is raga, another worm is dvesha, another worm is that ahankara, another worm is some krodha, another worm is bhaya, another worm is something else, hrir, dhir, bhi, tyetat, sarvam, manayeva. All these qualities which are there described for the mind, all these are the worms which are there in this can. So one by one you have to remove. How to remove? That also he is going, in the Bhashyam he is going to say, they have to be removed by viveka. By viveka means by proper analysis. Viveka is proper analysis, that is discrimination, proper analysis, what is what. Suppose the krodha, what is krodha? Krodha, one has to make an analysis of this krodha. What is the reason for this krodha? Krodha, after all, what is this krodha? Krodha also is a knowledge which is just passing through your mind at a particular time. You see something and then immediately you get angry, some angry feeling is there. That krodha is something which is actually, it is a knowledge which is passing through your mind. Then what is love? Love also is something which is a matter of knowledge. It is something, it's a knowledge which is passing through your mind, a chitta vritti. It is a chitta vritti or a mental, a modification of mind as they call it, or some thought process, to put it in simpler words, a thought process which is going in your mind. So that is again a knowledge. Again something similarly, hatred, dvesha. Dvesha is a knowledge. So everything, all these human feelings like love, hate, all these things, they are all various types of knowledge which are passing through your mind. And then suppose you become a witness to all these things. You analyze all these things as a distant spectator. You distance yourself from that and then you analyze. And then that is how this raga, dvesha, etc. have to be slowly controlled. Or this can of worms, this one by one, this worm has to be removed and then this milk has to be put. That is how one Swamiji gave a comparison while explaining this thing. Vita raga bhaya krodhaha. That is, we have not read this shloka. Did we read this? Yeah, we read this shloka. So, Vita raga bhaya krodhaha means the one, those, not one, krodhaha it is in plural, those from whom this raga, attachment, bhaya, fear and krodha, all these things they have dropped off. Vita, vigataha. That is, they have just dropped off. That is because of his viveka. Once you do this viveka, they get dropped off. Because once you do this viveka, naturally he will be in a brahmatma jnana. That Shankaracharya is going to say, krodhasya vitaha brahmavidaha ishvara abheda darshinaha. That is, Shankaracharya is going to say that they are seeing the Brahman everywhere. There is no question of enemy or say friend or enemy to them. So they are going to see everything as the Brahman. So they have reached a particular stage where there is no, all these thoughts, they just pass through their mind and then they have distanced themselves from that over a period of time, and with this abhyasa, by this practice, all these passions have dropped off. It is not as though they are still there and he is still witnessing them. All those things have dropped off. So that is how his mind has become clean. Putaha means purified. So that is what he is saying. Vita raga bhaya krodhaha. Bhaya is because of what? Bhaya, the Upanishad says, dvitiya dvai bhayam. When you see duality, when you see somebody as your enemy, so then only this bhayam is there. When you do not perceive an enemy, there is no bhayam. So a sannyasi is a person who reaches that stage. A jnani is a person who reaches that stage where he does not perceive any enmity. In fact, sannyasi, he gives abhayam to everybody. Abhayam sarvabhutebhyo matta swaha abhayam. Abhayam is one quality which a sannyasi has. So sannyasi poses no threat to anybody. A jnani is somebody who poses no threat to anybody, nor he is afraid of anybody. He is not afraid of anybody and he doesn't pose threat to anybody. So that is what is a jnani. So like that, so these are the people, these Vita raga bhaya krodhaha means these are the people from whom this raga, attachment, bhaya is dropped off. That is because they don't see any difference, they don't see any rival. Krodha, naturally when they don't see enemy, there is no krodha also. Then man mayaha, mat plus mayaha, man mayaha. Mat, me. Mayaha, maya. You say something is maya. Maya means something which is filled with that. Hiran maya, that is something which is made of gold. Something like ayomaya, let us say. Ayomaya is, ayaha is iron. Maya is, it is made of iron. So man maya means their very being is totally filled with me. Their very being, their whole personality, their whole mind. Or we come back to that image, that idea of a cup. Their mind, the mind which is like a cup, it is totally filled with me only. All other things have gone away, and their mind is totally filled with me. So that is it. Man maya. Their being is filled with me. Then mam upashritaha. Mam, me. Upashritaha. They are the people who have surrendered before me. They have come to me. They have come to me. They have surrendered before me. That means they are always thinking about Brahman only, not as though doing some bhajan, not in the sense of a bhakti. Mam upashritaha means those who are in the path of knowledge, those who are in the path of jnana. Mam upashritaha, the people who are in the path of jnana. So mam here means Brahman. Whenever Krishna refers to himself as I, you have to take it as the Supreme Brahman only, and not some Krishna who is a deity, a lower deity. Then Bahavaha Jnana Tapasa Putaha Madbhavamagataha. Bahavaha means many people. It is not only now, that is what this Avatarika was saying, Naisha Mokshamargaha Idanim Pravata. This is not some new thing which I am telling now. It has been there forever. So Bahavaha, many people, Jnana Tapasa, by this Jnana, which itself is a tapas. Jnana eva tapaha, Jnana tapaha. Tapas, we know. What is tapas? Tapas means Tapa Alochane. The Sanskrit meaning is Tapa Alochane. There are two meanings for this word Tapa. Tapa means to burn, then to think. So when you think, naturally your mind burns. So when you think a lot, if you are working on some problem, your mind becomes very hot. So that is the burning. There is a burning from inside. So Tapa Alochane. Tapa means two things, that is burning and also thinking. So here it is not burning. Here it means thinking. Tapasa Brahma Vijignyasasva. In fact, I told sometimes earlier also, when the father tells his son, you know the Brahman by thinking, by contemplation. Tapasa, by process of thinking, by process of logical thinking, you eliminate what is all this dross, what is all dirt, you eliminate and try to discover yourself. So that is what the father says in what is that Taittiriya Upanishad. So this Jnana Tapasa. Jnana Tapaha means Jnanameva Tapaha. Jnanam Eva Tapaha is Jnana Tapaha. Jnanam itself is tapas. That is the path of knowledge. That itself is the tapas. So the person, these people, they are the people who are their nishtha or their avasthanam, their sthiti, their position, they are fully established in that path of knowledge. So that is it. Jnana Tapasa Putaha. Putaha means that is purified. Those whose antahkarana, whose mind has become purified. So that is those people. Nishkamaha, that is what another commentator says. Nishkamaha means from whom all kamas, all desires have evaporated. So the mind from which all desires have evaporated, they are the nishkamas. Then madbhavamagataha. Then they have actually taken my form, they have assumed my form. Mat bhavam, my rupam, that is my status, they have attained. That is, they have assumed my status. That is, we know this is famous statement, Brahmavit Brahmaiva Bhavati. A person who knows Brahman becomes Brahman. Then, how is it? When your antahkarana, we know this famous statement, Tattvamasi. How is it equated? This tat is something which is unattached by anything. Asanga, he does not have any ragadvesha. That is something of the nature of pure consciousness. Then tvam is something which is also having intelligence, but then this can is full of worms. So you remove all these worms and then purify this mind. Once you purify this mind, whatever remains is that pure intelligence only, that Chidabhasa. And then at that Chidabhasa, say consciousness which is confined in this so-called antahkarana, consciousness confined or upahita chaitanyam, that itself is equated to that Shuddha Chaitanyam, and that is the parity between Tat and this. Not that every criminal is Brahma. Every criminal is not Brahma. Though a Jnani looks that portion only. Jnani sees only that equation. Jnani only sees that say consciousness aspect of criminal, and he does not see a person as a criminal. Only we have to see. We in the normal world, at a transactional level, we have to locate a criminal as a criminal. So anyway, here Madbhava Magataha means these are the Jnanis who have known, who have purified their antahkaranas, who have got pure antahkarana, Shuddha antahkaranas, who have attained that Chitta Shuddhi, and then who have attained my stature or who have assumed my form. So that is the meaning here. Vita Raga Bhaya Krodhaha, it is a plural there, it is describing a number of people, not one. These are the people from whom all these things have dropped off. Then Manmayaha, Manmayaha means their minds are filled with me, their entire being is filled with me. Then Mam Upashritaha, they are the people who are following my path. Then Bahavaha, many people, Jnana Tapasa, by means of this path of knowledge, Then Putaha, they have been purified. Madbhavam agataha, those who have assumed my form. Then let us see this bhashyam. Vita raga iti. Vita raga bhayakrodhaha. Ragascha bhayamcha. Krodhascha. Vitaha vigataha yebhyaha. Te vitaraga bhayakrodhaha. So you see this vigataha. This vigata is another beautiful word. Vitaraga bhayakrodha. Vigata is, it has just dropped off. So you are say having some kama, you are having some krodha, you are having some other feeling in your mind, and you make a proper analysis. Then once you properly analyze, you are not pushing it away. That itself is dropping away. Once you solve a problem, then that question automatically goes. Suppose you are solving a problem. Once you solve the problem, then the question automatically drops off. So like that, this once you make an analysis of once you make an examination of your raga, dvesha and all these things, then they automatically drop off. So that is how this vigata is same as vita. Vita, they just dropped off. They have not, by force, they have not pushed them away. By viveka, by proper discrimination, by proper analysis, though they have got rid of all those things. They have got rid of, that is again a better thing, a better expression. They have got rid of those things. Vitaha, vigataha, yebhyaha, te vitaraga bhayakrodhaha. Those are the people from whom all these things have dropped off. Then manmayaha, brahmavidaha, Ishvara abheda darshinaha, mameva parameshwaram upashritaha. So manmayaha, he says brahmavidaha. Brahmavidaha is plural. Brahmavit, brahmavidau, brahmavidaha. Brahmavidaha is plural. Manmayaha, that is, they are the people who know the Brahman. Their mind is totally filled with me. That is it. Manmayaha. Then Ishvara abheda darshinaha. They are the people who do not see any bheda. Bheda is difference. Ishvara abheda darshanaha means they don't see any difference between Ishvara and themselves. The people who see this bheda darshis, there is again one note which somewhere Anandagiri or somebody says, okay, not here. Okay, Vitaha, no, this Madhusudana Saraswati says, Vitaha vivekena vigataha yebhyaha te vitara. Yeah, by this viveka. Then he says manmayaha tatpadartham tvampadartha abhedena sakshat krutavantaha. This difference between tvam and tat has gone away. Abhedena sakshat krutavantaha. They are feeling, they are experiencing it. That tvam padartha and tat padartha, they are one and the same. That is their sakshatkara. Sakshatkara means that is their experience. So that is the stage of this manmaya. Ishvara abheda darshinaha. They are not seeing any difference between the Ishvara and themselves. That is, they have experienced it. Mameva parameshwaram upashritaha. Mameva, me, parameshwaram, that supreme self. Parameshwara is supreme self. Upashritaha. Upashritaha means those who have, say, who are following my, say, this jnana path. Upashritaha, they are following that jnana path. Kevala jnana nishthaha ityarthaha. So he is also elaborating. Kevala jnana nishthaha. They are only well established in the path of jnana. Then next line. Bahavaha aneke jnana tapasa jnanameva paramatma vishayam tapaha tena jnana tapasa putaha param shuddhim gataha शुद्धिम गताः सन्तः मद्भावं ईश्वरभावं मोक्षम आगताः समानुप्राप्ताः. Okay, he says bahavaha, many people, aneke, not one. Then jnana tapasa, Shankaracharya is also explaining jnanameva paramartma vishayam tapaha. Jnanameva, what is this jnanam? Jnanam is not some laukika jnanam. He is not talking about any other some knowledge of some anything in the world, but paramatma vishayam jnanam. Paramatma Vishayam Tapaha. That is, it is about the knowledge of this Supreme Atma, Paramatma. That is the knowledge of the Supreme Atma. That itself is their tapas. That itself is their constant subject for contemplation. Their contemplation is totally on this Paramatma. So those people, Jnana Tapasa Putaha, Param Shuddhim Gataha. Putaha. Puta is Pavitri Krutaha. That is Param Shuddhim Gataha. Their Antahkarana has been purified. Gatas Santaha, having become like that. Mat Bhavam Ishvara Bhavam Moksham. Mat Bhavam Agataha. Which means they have attained me. They have assumed my bhava, my rupa. What is my rupam? That is moksham. Mad bhavam, Ishvara bhavam, that is moksham. That is Ishvara bhavam is moksham. One who is not bound by anything, one whose mind is not bound by this raga, bhaya, krodha and all these things, he has reached that stage. Once you drop off all your, the baggage belonging to this body and the baggage belonging to all this, our interaction with this universe, then you are nothing but the pure consciousness, and that pure consciousness itself is that Brahman. You have to only drop off all the baggage by proper process of elimination, by proper process of discrimination. So that is it here. Madbhavam, Ishvarabhavam, Moksham Agataha, Sam Anupraptaha. Sam Anupraptaha means Samyak Anupraptaha. They have properly, fully attained. They have attained my bhavam. Then, Itara Tapo Nirapeksha Jnana Nishtha Ityasya Lingam Jnana Tapasa iti Visheshanam. So this Visheshanam, Jnana Tapasa Madbhavam Agataha, he says, only 4 minutes. Okay, Jnana Tapasa is the Visheshanam. Jnana Tapasa means by this tapas which is of the nature of Jnana. That Visheshanam is an adjective. Adjective for what? Madbhavam Agataha. That is Jnananishtaha. For that Jnananishta, this is the Visheshanam. Itara Tapo Nirapeksha Jnananishtaha. So that means there is no need for any other tapas. Itara Tapo Nirapeksha. It is not dependent on any other tapas. Jnanam itself is a tapas. Jnana Tapasa, the word Jnana Tapasa means Itara Tapo Nirapeksha Jnananishtha. Then there is no need for any other tapas. That means he is not obliged to do any, he is not supposed to do, he is not required to do any upasana, he is not required to do any other ritual, he is not required to do any other karma for any other loka. So all these things, they are not necessary. Itara Nirapesha, that means it is not dependent on any other thing. It is pure jnana path only. It is not dependent on, it is not obligatory on him to do any other thing. There is no need to do upasana, there is no need to karma. This sheer jnana tapa is good enough. If jnana tapas is the only means, not good enough, it is the only means to attain mad bhavam, to attain my bhavam. Ashritaha jnana tapasa iti visheshanam itara tapo nirapeksha jnananishta ityasya lingam. That is, lingam means it is an indication. Lingam is an indicator. Lingam does not mean any other thing. In fact, many of us, we don't understand the meaning of lingam. Lingam does not mean the human organ. Lingam is not a human organ. We use the words Strilinga, Pumlinga. Strilinga means indicator for a Stri. Pumlinga is indication for Pumlinga, say the masculine gender. Then similarly neuter gender, it is only gender. Then lingam, it also in Shastra Paribhasha, it also means an indication. Lingam in Shastra Paribhasha means it's an indication. It is just to show. It is just to show that this is what. Itara Nirapeksha Jnananishta ityasya lingam jnana tapasa iti visheshanam. Then next line, let us read this line. Tava tarhi ragadveshau staha yena kebhyashchideva Atmabhavam prayachasi na sarvebhyah ityuchyate. So then the question may arise. Then you are saying that there are some people who attain me. There are some people by doing this jnana tapas, they attain me. So then it may mean that you are also somebody who is having some partiality. You are only allowing some people to become jnanis. You are not allowing many other people to become jnanis. So that means we can impute this, say we can make some allegation of God being partial God being totally favoring some people and not favoring some people, because He is not giving that Jnana Nishtha to everybody. So that is the question here. Tava tarhi means in that case, tava to you, tarhi is in that case, raga dveshau staha. This raga and dvesha are there in you, because you are only allowing some people to become jnanis, you are not allowing some other people to become jnanis. In the raga dveshau staha means they are there. Asti staha is dvivachanam, you know. Then yena kebhyashchideva atma svabhavam prayachasi. Kebhyashchideva, that is for some people only. Kebhyaha chit eva. Kebhyashchideva is for some people only. Atma bhavam prayachasi. Prayachasi means you are giving what? Atma bhavam. You are revealing yourself, or you are allowing them to attain your nature. You are allowing them to attain your nature. Na sarvebhyaha. It is not in the case of everybody. You are not allowing everybody to attain your bhava. Then iti uchyate. Then that is being explained in the next shloka. Is the time over?
Yes.
We will continue in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.